My sister Helen, who is a lady of tremendous faith, and I feel she passed the faith on to a lot of us in the family. And with Helen used to always say, but I got up out of my bed that night and Our Lady was there. She was up here like this. And what happened, I'm getting the goosebumps even thinking of it. Kate, I was in bed and I heard knocking on the door, 3 knocks on the door, and my sister Helen again used to say, if you hear a knock in the night, don't be frightened, because we were on our own in this cottage, so in a dark road.
Una Williams, you're very welcome to the Reclaim the Faith podcast. We have mutual friends that put us in contact. Robbie Kane from Dublin Live.
Good old Robbie.
We love Robbie.
Yeah, we do.
Robbie is great.
He's really good.
Yeah, so Robbie told me some interesting stuff about you. I'm not going to spoil any surprises yet. Me and you had a conversation or two, but that's all ahead of us. Maybe just talk about a little bit about your life growing up and give people a bit of context. Let us know more about Una.
Right. I'll do the shorter version probably, but anyway.
No, this is a podcast. This is a
Don't have you here for 5 hours.
This is a podcast, do the longer version.
Bits as well. But anyway, no, so I grew up in a family of 9 children. I suppose one of my first experiences of death was my brother Kevin, who was a keen photographer actually, as a hobby. He died. He had Crohn's disease and he died, and he'd had 6 operations and he got pneumonia, and he was living in England at the time. So Mum and Dad were over and back all the time to England. So
what was your brother's name, sorry?
Kevin.
Yeah. What age were you at the time, Una?
I was about 8. He was 19.
Right.
And he was lovely. I was his pet.
Yeah.
Because I was the youngest at the time. So I always remember him coming home and, he'd always spoil me. And he was a great guy. He was a really good guy. And he was planning to get married, but he had an experience of God and he decided that when I get well, I will become a priest.
What was his experience?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not
you
sure
just had to call,
but he did pass away, and so we always say, well, he's a priest in heaven now. Yeah. He's praying for all us, But he was a really good guy. Then, so my sister Helen, who is a lady of tremendous faith, and I feel she passed the faith on to a lot of us in the family. And with Helen, used to always say, no matter how difficult things become in your life or how bad, even if you've murdered somebody, turn to Jesus and Our Lady. They will not turn their back on you. They will help you. I promise you that. They won't let you down. So in my life then, and I did have trauma and there was abuse in childhood as well. So it brought me down kind of roads that weren't necessarily good for me, I suppose, at the time. And I ended up with the wrong partner. He was a good guy. We were both very young, but we weren't meant for each other. So when push came to shove, I remembered what Helen had said had kind of stayed with me then. And one night I just fell to my knees, and she used to say, God knows what's best for you, so just ask him to tell you or show you. So I fell to my knees one night because the situation I was in was pretty difficult, and I was devastated and I was upset, and we weren't getting on, and we had a child together, and I was confused. I didn't know what to do. So I just said, I fell to my knees and I begged Our Lady and I begged Jesus to help me, and God, and I just said, tell me what I need to do, because you know what's best for me, and I'll do it. If you want me to stay and work this out, I'll stay. If you want me to go, I'll go. I'm back to Ireland. I was living in England at the time. So I went to bed that night, and I'm just going to say this before I continue, is that for those who believe, no explanation is necessary. Mm-hmm. For those who don't believe, no explanation is possible. But I got up out of my bed that night and Our Lady was there. She was up here like this. And what happened, I'm getting the goosebumps even thinking of it. So what happened there was she took me into what felt like this bubble. Everything disappeared. This was on the landing of the house I was living in at the time. Everything disappeared around me, and it was just me and her face to face. And She was wearing magnificent clothing, but what really, really stayed with me, and I'm 61 now, so what really
You
stayed
look
with
great for 61. Wow.
what really stayed with me was the love that I felt coming from her into my heart, into my whole being. And when I was looking at her, she didn't look like any of the statues or the pictures. You couldn't paint her. Her beauty is unbelievable. Like, it's just, you couldn't paint her, or you couldn't, do her justice by even trying to paint her. And there are beautiful paintings of her, but they're nothing to compare to how she really, really, really looks in real life. And so we had a long conversation, which is private, but I was with her for probably about 15 minutes, but it felt like a long, long time. So, and looking at her, as I say, with the statues and the pictures, she had long, dark, curly hair, rosy cheeks and blue eyes. And that's an image that has also stayed with me. And I don't necessarily remember the details of her clothing now, but I will always remember her face and her smile and the love that she showed me that in that experience. And so I had been very, very depressed. So I went back to bed and woke up the next morning and I was on a high. And I said it to my daughter's father at the time, and I asked him actually years later, do you remember me doing that? Do you remember me saying to you, I saw this beautiful lady. I don't know if it was our lady because she didn't look like any of the statues or the pictures, but she was beautiful and she was full of love and it was fantastic, and and I was like this. And I told one or two friends at the time as well, and they all thought I'd gone cuckoo. So I kind of let it slide a little bit as time went on. But she did come to me in a dream another time, and she told me to more or less come home to Ireland. So I put all my stuff in a black bags and I came back to Ireland.
Where were you that time?
We were in Ashford in Kent, in England, and it was beautiful, the Garden of England. It was lovely,
Like, it doesn't surprise me that when you were suffering with your mental health and discerning and looking for clarity.
I was searching for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, for a good few months, I'd say.
It doesn't surprise me because I associate Our Lady and the Rosary and Knock to peace and clarity, especially for the mind. That's because that's what I've gotten.
That
doesn't surprise me, but but it's incredible.
Yeah.
Your experience. Just that night, what was going on that night and what time did you see her at? We won't get into the conversation you had, but
yeah, like roughly about 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
There was nothing. I can't remember what was actually going on that night, but I just know I cried a lot and I fell to the floor and I sobbed my heart out and I begged and I pleaded on the landing. But I went off to bed. It was, I would think about 3:00 in the morning. I'm not sure. So I just got up, walked out into the landing, and that's where I saw her. So
and then you had another experience through a dream.
Then I had it was a few nights later, because I still was unsure in a sense, I suppose, what to do. And in the conversation I had with her, I was allowed only remember a small amount of it, but I feel the rest of it went in and kind of played off through my life, if you like,
What age were you at the time, Emma?
I was in my early 20s, so I was 23. I was 23 when it happened. So, and then I came home, as I say, with everything in black bags. Prior to going to England, and before I had my eldest daughter, Carly, who's been a tremendous child to me, a really great comfort, because we grew up together almost in that, she was always with me and through all the struggles after coming home from England. But prior to that, I had been working in the music industry as a photographer. And I started as a hairdresser, then I went into photography through that. And that was a great adventure. I worked with Def Leppard when they lived in Ireland, and I was kind of given privy to that. There was no other photographers allowed around with them at the time. And I was 18, I think, then, and I was very small, kind of, and they used to go, little girl, kind of thing. But so, and I used to do all the concerts and the gigs. I was the first female rock music photographer in Ireland, and my kids do laugh at that.
Where were you on your faith journey during all that time? And when was this? The
During all that
80s,
time.
90s?
Yeah, 80s. This was the early 80s.
80s,
Yeah,
rock and roll.
Yeah,
and
it was all happening in
photography
Dublin at the time. It was brilliant. The buzz in Dublin was
because it was a mecca. It was a mecca for
Yeah.
rock and roll, wasn't it? That time, yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and a lot of big stars came over to Ireland. You know, played in the SFX, which is obviously gone since. That was one of the favourites. Like Meatloaf played there, Simple Minds, Gary Moore, all the greats. Like, you know, and it was brilliant. Like at the time, but in my faith, I was like, well, if there is a God, he's probably had enough of me.
Yeah.
Because I was just doing my own thing all the time, you know, and trying to be good, trying to be as good as I could. But, you know, I didn't take drugs. That was the one thing I was always grateful for, that I was given that grace, because drugs were everywhere at that time. So I was offered a few times and I said, no. I came close to it once, but I was so glad that I didn't. Because I feel, because of, you know, childhood trauma, and that can, if you go on stuff like that, it brings you down a very dark road then it's very hard to come back off, you know, and it can cause a lot of mental issues, mental health and anxiety and all that kind of thing. So, and I'd had enough of that going on. I didn't need drugs to add to the problems I was struggling with at the time, you know, and so I'd have a few drinks. I was a social drinker and that was fine, you know, but yeah, so that's where I was at the time. You know, if there is a God, he's done with me, you know, but so I'll just keep going and doing what I can do.
You know, with your brother, Kevin, God rest his soul, how do you think that was manifested in your life up until that point, you know, because you lost him at 8 years of age, and by all accounts you're telling me he was a great brother and he was on that spiritual journey. I'd imagine that's something that really, and obviously still to this day, lives with you. I wonder, have you kind of analysed it in a way?
I did years ago through a great priest, Father Aidan Carroll. I would have spoken at length with him for a number of years about everything in my life, you know, and I don't think I got to grieve properly for Kevin until I was older. Like, I don't think it really hit me until I was older, and it hit me hard. And it was probably at a time, and I'll tell you a little story about my friend Kathleen, Kate, we used to call her. She was wild. My dad wouldn't allow me near her because he used to say, she's a bad influence on you, you know. And he was no angel himself. But anyway, that was fine. But so my friend Kate, and we grew up together, we were very close, and, you know, we'd hang out when we were allowed. And, she was killed in a car crash. And this was when I was 26 now. So I'm jumping ahead a bit. But however, I was in bed. I lived in an old cottage down the back roads in Portmarnock at the time with Carly. And I was in bed and I do my prayers and whatever. And funny enough, going back a bit as well, I used to pray a Hail Mary and an Our Father and a Glory Be every night, just in case there was a God, just in case Helen was right, you know. So that was something I did do as well. So Kate, I was in bed and I heard knocking on the door, 3 knocks on the door. And my sister Helen again used to say, if you hear a knock in the night, don't be frightened, because we were on our own in this cottage, so, you know, on a dark road. It's Jesus knocking on the door of your heart. Just welcome him in. So I was like, okay, welcome you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And then next of all, I felt this shadow come around the side of my bed and pull something off my head. And I knew it was a soul in need of prayer. Now, I didn't know Kate, you know, was gone, but I knew it was a soul in need of prayer, and I prayed for them. And the next day I was walking down the road, and I bumped into a mutual friend who said, I think Kate was killed in a car crash. You better go down to her granny's and see if it's true. You know, there was something in the paper and it sounds a lot like her. So it still hadn't hit me that was her, you know. So that was very sad as well at the time. And but I got great comfort and great peace knowing that she had come to say goodbye, because we were very close, you know, and we went through a lot together as well, you know. And another funny story to add to that actually was that before she died, when the night we were getting ready to go out, and she wasn't crazy about my dad because he was so strict. And she said, I said to her, I'd laugh if she started talking about death, actually. And I said, don't talk like that. You're going to be around longer than me, you know. And then I was saying, I'd laugh if you died. And then 3 weeks later, my dad died. And 2 years would be up there together. And she was going, no. But that's what happened. 3 weeks later, after she died, my dad died 3 weeks after her. Yeah, and that's what happened. So,
how was that? What was that like? What was that like? When was that? What age were you?
26.
26.
26. And Kate was... No, Kate was 26. I was 28, I think. So, like, if I can just say, after my experience of Our Lady when I was in England, I came home, as I said, I came home with nothing then. Do you know what I mean? And I had to rebuild my life. Now, again, my sister Helen was fantastic support, and my sister Mary and members of my family, you know, rallied around to help us. And I had a little baby in tow as well, you know. And so I suppose in a way, like for me, I didn't convert overnight after that. I did change and my life changed, but it's still, there was another kind of long part of the journey to go before I really got it, you know, and really understood what was going on. And how that happened was through Medjugorje. So I came back, I rebuilt my life. I started working as a photographer again. I did some private parties for U2, and I was working back in the music business. And again, a great adventure, and it was great fun. But it got to a point then where I became my health started to deteriorate. My health got very bad. I was diagnosed, at the age of 30, I was diagnosed with ME, myalgic encephalitis, which is like inflammation of the brain and muscle problems. And the funny thing was, one of my sisters had said to me, "Oh, and I thought you were just lazy, like."
Thanks.
I still
Family will humble you.
I still remind her of that. Yeah, because it's these type of hidden illnesses. Like people say, "But you look great. You can't be sick," you know. Yeah. But they don't understand like the pain and the suffering of people who go through.
My best friend is like that. She has a disease called achalasia. But she's also been sick over the past few years, and it's like symptoms of neurological symptoms alongside it. And because like she looks so well, people would be judgmental, but she really suffers in a big, big way. It just reminded me, just as you were speaking there, it just made me think of her.
Yeah, no, it is. God love her, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pray for her as well.
Yeah,
so.
please do.
But, you know, for years I was told there was no cure for what I had. That, when my doctor diagnosed me, I said, "Great, what can I do?" He said, "Nothing, you just have to get on with it." And, you know, and I was like, okay, so, but anyway,
is there a degenerative element to it that it gets worse and worse? What, ME, is it?
ME, yeah. It's not that it can develop into worse.
Okay.
It can be like fibromyalgia, for example, or, people have had strokes because what happens is your blood pressure goes below normal when you have it as well, you know, so you'd be very weak. Like some days I couldn't lift my arms. I'd be in the bed, and poor Carly was very good as my eldest daughter. As I say, she went through a lot with me, and she used to mind me, and she used to make sure, "Mommy, are you okay?" You know, and like I could barely talk some days. And then I'd have other days where I would be fine, or I would get up in the morning and I'd feel great. But within a half an hour, I'd be zonked back down again and would have to take to the bed, like with the lack of energy, and my memory, my brain function, everything just was damaged, you know, with it. But I'll get on to that later a bit. I'll explain a bit more about that later. But where was I now? Getting back
Medjugorje.
Medjugorje. So first of all, another friend of mine, see, I think faith is a journey, and for me it did take a bit longer to cop it, but a friend of mine gave me a book on the Divine Mercy, a little book, and she said, "This little book changed my life." She said, "I'm giving it to you," and she said, "It's only a tiny little prayer book kind of thing, and I'm giving it to you, so just give your life to Jesus." And my sister Helen had brought me to a service of reconciliation that week, and I had been sobbing at that, and then I came home, so I threw the book in the drawer, and then one night I was bored sitting in bed, and I took it out of the drawer and I started to read it. And whatever happened, I was like, this nun is not lying.
Saint Faustina.
Saint Faustina. She's telling the truth. This is real. Jesus is real. Like, so I gave my life to him that night. Properly gave my life to him that night.
What did that look like, giving your life?
Yeah.
It's simple, very simple. I just said, after reading that, I said, I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my life. You take over it. You tell me now where I need to go and what I need to do. And my passion was photography, and I wanted to start working again as a photographer. And within a couple of months, I had everything back in play. I had a camera again. I started, doing freelance work kind of thing. But yeah, and it was great. But I had 2 dreams that week where St. Teresa, the little flower, came to me in the dreams. And she said, I'm going to look after you for the rest of your life. So if you ever get into difficulty, just, I'll help you. And she's been true to her word, because, I've climbed many mountains in my life since. And, people say, oh, you're very lucky you saw Our Lady. I only saw her once. I used to beg her, please let me see you again. Let me see you one more time.
On that note, was it through prayer and discernment that you knew it was Our Lady, or did she actually say it was Our Lady, or what made you come to the conclusion that it was Our Lady?
I'll tell you that now in a sec. Yeah. So I used to beg her to come, but I kind of resigned myself to the fact that, no, you were lucky to have one experience of Our Lady like that, and one in the dream as well.
You were getting selfish.
Yeah, greedy. So, but the thing is as well, with great experiences like that comes great responsibility. And I will have to answer more to God than say some others, because I can't say, well, I didn't know. I never saw anything and I never experienced anything. So it is a big responsibility. So to much that is given, much will be expected, So anyway, that was fine. Then I started hearing about Medjugorje, this place Medjugorje. And I was like, okay. And I had the Medjugorje Herald, which was a newspaper thing out, or a little magazine that was out at the time. And I was reading that, and I was reading how Visca described Our Lady as she saw her. Long, dark, curly hair, rosy cheeks, blue eyes. And next of all, I was just like, that really was Our Lady. Because people had convinced me I'd gone mad, that I didn't really see anything. That really was Our Lady, because nobody in my whole life had ever described Our Lady the way the lady I had seen.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to get to Medjugorje. So I started going to Medjugorje. I would take, because we didn't have a lot of money at the time, and so I used to take groups so that, you could get 20 people, you get a priest with you, and you get a seat yourself. And then I used to bring Carly with me as well. And the funny thing, her first time there, I think she was about 9 or 10, and she said, because she was like, she wanted to go to Spain, like, it's not cool to go to a holy place. She was like, when she stepped off the coach, she said, well, she says, Mom, you're right. She says, it is very peaceful here. It is lovely. And as a child, for a child to say that, she could sense it, she could feel it.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest gift, I think, or one of the greatest gifts of Medjugorje, is that sense of peace you feel when you get there. And you can nearly pull it out of the air, the peace and the presence of God. Like people say, oh, we shouldn't be worshipping. I don't worship Our Lady. I see Our Lady as my mother.
Yeah.
And everybody's mother.
That's what I say every day, mother, be a mother to me today.
Absolutely, yeah. And she's been a tremendously kind and patient mother with me.
Yeah.
Because I've let her down quite a few times.
Haven't we all, though?
Yeah.
Human.
But she's so beautiful, and so that was grand. So I went to Medjugorje for years. I had some trips where, like Father Slavko used to say, when you first go to Medjugorje, Our Lady gives you chocolate. But sometimes when you go, she doesn't give you chocolate, so it can be a tough pilgrimage. So I've had all those experiences there, but I've seen many people healed and many conversions within the groups that I've brought to Medjugorje years ago as well, and hardened men, like, that were saying to me, I don't believe in this nonsense, and I'm just going because my wife wanted me to go, and and they'd end up crying, and they'd be coming home going, no, my wife was right. and they'd convert, and it's lovely. It's lovely to be a witness. And that again is another grace and a great gift, I feel. And there are a lot of, it's like everything, there's a lot of naysayers in life, and people will debunk Medjugorje or debunk this, that or the other. But I always say to people, go yourself and make your own decision.
Mind up.
Stop listening to what people are because the devil is out to destroy it anyway. We know that, and so go and experience it for yourself and make your own mind up about it. And if you come away and think no, then, that's fine too. Because faith is a gift from God, and God gives that gift. And Our Lady always says that in Medjugorje. Don't pray necessarily for sinners. Pray for people who haven't been touched by the love of God yet. Yeah. So I sound like what's that other girl? Yet. The power of yet.
Good.
So, no, but, who haven't been touched by the love of God yet. So, so then moving on from there, I suppose after that, my life started. I got married then and had 4 more children. So I have 5 children and I have 7 grandchildren now, thank God.
Beautiful.
They're a great blessing. So, we had a new baby born last week, Sophia. So she's only a few days old. So the marriage was very difficult. And if I had listened to God at the time, who's in several different ways, I was trying to warn me, this was not the person for you. Now, what God puts together, let no man tear asunder, but God doesn't put everybody together. That's what I think now, from my own experience even. And it was a mountain climb. And he was a good man with a really good heart. But he was badly damaged and had his own demons to deal with and whatever, He was very good to the children. But our relationship just, and not through his fault or my fault, it just never was meant to be. And I remember, I fell in love with him. So I said to God, I remember at the time saying to God, it'll be grand, I'll sort him out. I'll make him all better. And because, he had PTSD and different, other problems, and I'll make him all better. So it'll be fine. Which was a mistake. Because when God tells you, this is not for you, you better believe him. Because when he tells you something like that, it's for your own good. Because he knows what's ahead of your future. He knows, what it's going to happen. Now, the great thing was I had 4 beautiful children, and they're all grown up now, more or less. So, I have 5 altogether, but I had 4 within this marriage. And so that was another, as I say, a mountain climb. And then we'll skip along now, I suppose, to my daughter Hannah. And I find this a little bit kind of difficult to talk about because, it's of the very, deep pain in the heart when it happened. But I was quite sick with fibromyalgia myself. So at the time, they were doing these, what did you call them, John? Jabs.
Oh, the schmaxines.
Schmaxines.
In the school. And she was going for she had one and she was fine. And then she was going for her second one. And I was standing in the kitchen with her and I said, do you want to get it? And she was like, I don't know. And I said, well, it's up to you. And I had looked into it a little bit, but because of the chronic fatigue and everything else, I wasn't able to give it my full attention, I suppose. And if I had given it my full attention, the other thing was we were kind of lied to as well, because we were told by the powers that be there was only 4 possible side effects, when in truth there's 24. And I think if I had known that, I probably would have said no. Anyway, she went off to school and she got it and she rang me and she was feeling faint and sick and nauseated and dizzy. And they had told her to sit down. You'll be fine. Sit down, you'll be fine. 15 minutes to be, but she wasn't. So I had to run up and collect her and bring her home. And I said to her, it's probably just an initial reaction. You'll be fine after a while, give it a day or 2. But as the time went on, she got sicker and sicker and sicker until she couldn't get out of bed and she couldn't even go to school, which is a great bone of contention for me because she missed a lot of her education. Now, she still managed to do her Leaving Cert, but she didn't achieve the results she would have achieved had she not been damaged by this thing. So, and it was horrendous to watch your child in pain. And then the two of us were in pain. The two of us were in bits. So I said to the Lord one day, I said, look, God, I said, if you're not going to heal her, I wasn't even thinking of myself because I'd given up on myself because I'd been told for so long there was no cure for what I had, which had gone from ME into fibro at that stage. So I said, if you're not going to heal her, just show me what I need to do to help her. And God being so good, he took me at my word and he did. He showed me. Because with that, documentaries start coming in front of me. People like Barbara O'Neill, who people knock down as well. And she has been a huge help to our family. Huge help.
Just a bit of context for Barbara O'Neill, who she is.
She's a very well-known herbalist, I suppose. To me, she's a doctor of herbal. I don't know if as far as I know, she doesn't even have a degree. But she has the knowledge and the information, and she has the know-how, and she has, I think she had 6 children herself who she used all these things on as well over the years, and has helped many people recover their health as well. So, and I remember when I was, so with Hannah, it took me a good while to even, I think I was in denial. It took me a while. I kept saying it couldn't be the jab. They wouldn't do that to kids. They just wouldn't. Anyway, I spoke then. I was actually got in touch with Jim Core, and I said, Jim, is there any way I can get this diagnosed to see if it is? Because he obviously has a lot of experience on this kind of thing himself, or knowledge on it as well. And I was only starting out in that sense, even though I was always into kind of herbal remedies and had a little bit of an, interest in them. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that was fine. So he put me in touch with, there's a group called Regret they're on Facebook. So I contacted them and they rang me and they went through the list of symptoms. Hannah had every one of them. So I was like, right, I had to admit, because I feel I was in denial because I didn't want it to be this serious.
Yeah.
Because at times I'd say to her, for goodness sake, just get up and get into school and stop being silly, because I was thinking it's teenage stuff, and but God love her. And then again, as time went on, I could see her symptoms were very similar to my own. So I was able to understand then what the pain she was going through and what she was suffering. And when I got, had that phone call, I just said, right, that's it. I'll have to find a way of getting her well. And because she's so young, she has her whole life ahead of her and she can't stay in bed for the rest of her life, And thankfully, if she'd had the 3rd jab, I feel she would have ended up in a wheelchair, which has happened to other young people who did, So anyway, so I went on, I asked God then to help and, or to show me what I needed to do to help her. So he did. So Barbara O'Neill was one of them. Dr. Natasha Campbell-McBride was another great doctor I came across as well. There was a tremendous documentary called The Magic Pill, which is all about organic food and how the power of food to heal the body.
Saw that. That was powerful, yeah.
Isn't it? That was a game changer.
Yeah.
Because I used to spend, I'd buy bottles of Coke and I'd have a treat cupboard for the kids, thinking I was being a good mommy. I was poisoning my kids and I didn't know it.
Sugar is the enemy.
Poison.
Everything.
Poison. And we're all addicted to it at times.
Yeah.
On and off.
Feeds all disease and creates inflammation and just explodes the body.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the likes of, we have parasites in our body and there are good ones that do the job and we need them. But when you're eating too much sugar, say, or too many chemicals in your body, then the parasites, they end up the wrong type of parasite ends up there. So, and they tell us to worm our dogs. So we should.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
But we don't do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
When we should. Because we all
should do
have
it
them.
once a year at least.
Yeah.
So anyway, the doctors couldn't help her, as I said, or nobody could seem to help her. So I had her tested in Germany in a lab through a doctor in Ireland. And she had high levels of mercury, nickel, cadmium, lead, some arsenic. And there was other bits as well in there. And I had a doctor who even said, look, I know it's this jab that's done this to her. So But I can't say that. I'd be struck off. So, and he had asked for the matter to even test her for the heavy metals as well, and they refused. So, like, I was banging my head everywhere. Every door I tried to open, like, I was getting this. But I feel, again, like, God took me by the hand and said, no, this is the way I need you to go with this, because God has given us everything we need on this earth.
Amen.
To keep our bodies strong and healthy, and our minds and our mental health. And so, and as Barbara would say, if you give your body the right circumstances, it will heal. If you give the blood the blood heals the body as well. So if you give it enough nourishment. Now, unfortunately, as we know with the magic pill, a lot of the fruit and the veg and the things that are grown now, they're sprayed with chemicals.
And they're all modified. They're not the original.
Genetically modified.
They're not like what we would have had, well, what I would have had as a child, especially, you know, like tomatoes taste, and my Carly's mother-in-law grows her own tomatoes, and the difference in the taste, she always sends me over a bag of the tomatoes, she's very good. The difference in the flavour and the taste of them, you know, so it goes to show you. But anyway, I do feel God is calling people back to nature. And to using his gifts that he's given us.
Our Lady did give a message of that in Medjugorje, where she said about being self-sufficient, which means being in charge of your own food, because she was more or less telling us that it was going to make us sick. In my eyes, that's how I took it anyway. Very
good, yeah. I'd agree with that as well. And
we're so dependent on these superstores and shops and what they're just churning out, all this processed food.
Exactly. And when you go into the likes of a big, I won't say any names, but a big supermarket, for example, and you have in the corner the health food section.
Yeah.
So what's in the rest of the shop if it's not the health food? You know, so like
I can tell you from being carnivore. I'm on the carnivore, so that even like it transforms you in so many ways, like taking out all the processed foods, for starters, the sugar, but even the just carbohydrates, even because they're not essential. Carbohydrates are not essential.
Yeah,
only fats and protein is essential. My mental health has never ever been better, ever.
Yes, yeah.
Physically, like never felt as good.
Yeah,
felt
and you look great.
Felt since I'm like 18 years of age, you know.
Yeah,
it's mad.
Yeah,
like,
it does. It affects our brains.
But yet we're told meat is bad for you, and meat that causes cancer, and it's like literally it's like a conspiracy to get us all sick. Well, it's a conspiracy to get us all addicted anyway to these foods.
Yeah, and then to the medications as well, because
of course.
You know, I mean, there's, and I hope I'm okay to say this, but there are pharmaceuticals who pay farmers in different countries to grow hawthorn, for example, because it's really good for your heart. And they take that hawthorn and then they add their own stuff into it. So it doesn't cure you. And if you take it in its natural form, it will keep you strong and keep your heart healthy. But because there's other stuff in the medications, then it's just keeping people ticking over. It's not curing them.
I always say you get a pill, and it's not curing you. You're on that pill for life. It's keeping one sickness at bay, but you're being sick elsewhere because it has a knock-on effect. And I'm always very weary about medication and tablets. And we were just having a wee chat before we come on, because I have a bit of an acid reflux issue. And still, I've been going to the doctors about it for 2 years now. And the only thing they've done is give me omeprazole and do an ultrasound and just say everything's fine. But for 2 years...
nothing.
And I keep trying to do things myself and taking things in and out and changing my diet, and it just seems to be, I don't know what it is.
And that kind of thing, like they give us antacids, for example, if we've heartburn, but it's an indication that we don't have enough acid in our stomach. So we should be taking stuff that's going to build that back up, that acid back up again, because that's what breaks down the food, you know, and helps the digestion and everything else. So, but anyway, so with Hannah, it's funny, she couldn't have tap water because it would flare her body up into terrible pain. She couldn't have normal toothpaste, anything with chemicals or rubbish in it. And we kind of used to laugh because we'd say, if you want to know there's something bad in something, get Hannah to try it first. And, you know, because it would flare up her body. She would react to it because the chemicals or the heavy metals that were already in her body then, and if you're adding to them, it's just going to cause an explosion for her, which, you know, a lot of the time it did. So I had to get a filtered water tap put in, and I had to change. After watching the Magic Pill documentary, I changed all the food in the house. And people say, oh, but organic food is very expensive. And I'm like, well, when I stop buying all the rubbish, all the bottles of Coke, all the treat cupboard and stuff like that.
You'll save
I had enough money then to pay for
organic.
decent food, organic food. And people say, well, how do you know organic food is really organic? And I'd say, because of how my body feels when I eat it. And Barbara O'Neill will say, you know, learn to listen to your body. Your body will tell you what's going on. So I've done that. And I know that when I eat certain foods, you know, I feel ill or whatever, or tired. I'd be intolerant to the likes of dairy. So, but the thing was, while I was researching for Hannah, I ended up learning how to manage my own fibromyalgia, how to manage the pain. They'll say there's no cure for it, but certainly there is a way to manage your pain. And you don't, like, I was so ill.
Reducing inflammation is key, isn't it?
That's with a lot of, most illness is
Because they're inflammatory.
inflammation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if your gut is not healthy, if you're full of pathogens and toxins, and we are, a lot of us, from the food, from the environment,
From the tap
everything.
water.
Tap water especially, one of
take
the
it.
worst culprits, yeah.
I can't remember drinking tap water. I don't remember the last time in many years.
Yeah.
However, I am drinking plastic.
Yeah.
bottles
Well,
of water, though.
microplastics don't
Yeah.
help, but also some of the bottled waters aren't great
No,
anyway.
that's right, yeah.
I would be very weary. So I have my water there, which I get from my filtered water tap.
What filter do you use?
Reverse osmosis we use. Now, again, people would say, you know, but I'm like, well, it works for us. And it really helped Hannah.
I think,
know.
as you said, listen to your body.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Your
really
body's
key.
key.
Yeah,
Because your body will tell you.
yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So, so with Hannah then, she started to recover by eating the right food and taking the right supplements. And I learned how to detox her, how to get the heavy metals removed from her body. Like her speech was almost gone as well.
Really?
Some days, yeah, she'd be, and we used to laugh. And like I'd look like that, say that again, and she'd be mumbling over her words, falling over her words, like. And these are all the symptoms of heavy metal damage, you see. So, her eyesight, she had to wear glasses as well. So, but anyway, thank God she is doing great now, because we've done and the great thing about Hannah was everything I gave her, she would take. Even if she felt kind of off after taking it, I said, try this. And she'd go, okay. Because she was desperate to get well. And it was frustrating for her because some of the teachers, even the friends in the school, now the principal in school was very good, actually. He was very supportive. But they didn't understand. Unless you've been through it yourself, it's very hard for people to understand. And as I say, it's a hidden illness. So, so that was, for her being so young, it was frustrating. Thank God, like I say, I could understand it because I knew what inflammation pain felt like. I knew what brain fog and chronic fatigue feels like, you know. So, and even now, I'll meet people and they'll say, oh, I tried all that and it doesn't work. It does work. Because not only me and Hannah, but other people I've helped now reclaim their health. I'm on the Reclaim Your Health business now.
Reclaim the health. I love that.
But and how I got making the creams actually was as well. I went to college and I studied nutrition as well, so that I could help her as well. And I just tried. Like in school, I was terrible. I was awful in school.
So you went to college to study it to help her.
To help her, yeah.
You know, that's powerful. Like that just makes me think of the maternal instinct and that love of the mother. You know, and even in Ireland, how we adore our mothers in Ireland, and that's no doubt related to Our Lady, but even like we call Ireland Mother Ireland and Erin and Roisin.
Yeah.
But I've always been, you know, there's my mother behind you, Lord.
Yes.
I'll rest her soul. Like no matter
Beautiful
what, she
lady.
would just show unconditional love.
Yes.
And I was always just fascinated with that maternal instinct, like.
Yeah.
But you going to college to learn more about nutrition for your daughter is beautiful.
Yeah, like when your child gets sick, you're like a mama bear. You know, you just want to really help them. And, you know, like, and while it was a huge help to Hannah, unfortunately, some of the other kids in the family felt it was all about her. And this is what this kind of injury or illness does. Mm-hmm. Others get left out because you're focused on that one child that you have to get them well. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately, but now, Holly, my other daughter, she's great. She's a great kid. You know, but there is a lot of sacrifice and thing. And I always say now, actually, there's no great success without sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Because, and I just say to Hannah, you were the sacrifice that helped the rest of us, because I would never have gained this knowledge only for you got sick. And God took this really bad situation and turned it around and brought so much good out of it for us. Because now, and I remember I said to God as well, like, right, so I've got all this knowledge now. What do I do with it? Like, people need to know that they don't have to stay in their pain and that they can manage their pain using natural alternatives, food and nutrition and the right minerals and the right vitamins. Again, like and the herbal remedies especially, because I don't believe in taking loads of vitamins. I think if you take 2 or 3 supplements, maybe that should be enough. You should be able to get the rest of it from your food.
Yeah,
and to find a good organic farmer, if you know any of them even, or the markets, the farmers markets or whatever. And just to note as well, back in the 50s, the Queen's horses were fed on grass that was grown in soil that had no heavy metals in it. So they knew back then the damage that heavy metals would do or were doing to people. So the animals were fed better than the humans.
Yeah.
Which is sad,
all this, the natural cure talk that we're having, this would be my whole life growing up. Like, my grandmother would know a lot of the old cures. Her travellers kept a lot of cures, as you know yourself. Actually, shout out to young Ian McDonough, was Young Scientist of the Year, probably maybe 7-8 years ago now, because he got a bunch of traveller cures, remedies, recognised by the HSE, and they were tested and battered and used and recognised. And actually,
that's fantastic.
I'm not sure if did I tell a story on this already about a cure I got? Because I'm getting a bit of, no, I'll tell it anyway. So I had warts as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Right, very bad warts all over my hands. And in school I was getting slagged a lot, but with the boys, it didn't really matter because I'd just give them a slap. That was just the way of the world, But with the girls, obviously, I couldn't hit them. My mother would kill me if I ever hit a girl. But there was this one girl that kept targeting me because of their warts, and I was walking in to the site one day home from school and I was crying like, I think I was 10 years of age. My grandfather, who's in that picture there with me mother, greatest man I've ever known, a gentleman and just a great man. He saw me and he was very soft as well. He had a real gentle side to him, and he'd say, "All right, son." And I went, yeah, no, I'm grand, Big Daddy, we call him, And he said, "What's wrong with you, son?" I said, the girl in school and she's bullying me with the warts, and come down the end of the field and I'll show you something. And I said, okay. So he brought me down the end of the field and he put 3 snails on my hand, 3 snails on this hand, and he wrapped them and he said, say your prayers now, right? And say your prayers for the next few nights. And that was Friday evening, Monday morning, all my warts were gone. Jeez. So I went to school.
Brilliant.
And there I am like that, flashing the hands. Yeah, I have no warts now. And the teacher's going, what happened? How did that happen? And I was like, my grandfather gave me the cure. And they were like, but me as a kid, that's magic. Like, that was a magic trick that he did.
Yeah,
but obviously travellers living out in the road constantly testing nature because you're literally in nature. You're not removed. You don't have these walls.
They would have only had access to that kind of
and they would have known, whatever that is. Like, I researched it since, looked into it. There's this whatever substance that's coming from the snail.
They use that in face creams now.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, so that's how it worked in 3 days. Like, it removed. Yeah,
incredible.
So
Thank God.
so I grew up with all them. My granny, his wife, Chrissy, she would know loads of the old cures and give you loads of cures for
I must pop down to them actually.
Yeah.
Get some inspiration.
Chrissy would love to have a good chat with you.
I'd love that. I could talk about herbals all day. I just love it. My kids say at my funeral, they're going to say at the funeral that I had a cream for everything, like, because I'll always say to them, they say, I have a cream for that, I have a spot here, I have a cream for that.
Well, even if that's the same, your granny would say, I have a cure for that. Well, you'd be smoking a fag, I have a cure for that one and that one and that one.
Oh no, it's gas. Like,
so how was Hannah now? Like,
so Hannah has just given birth to her second baby.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, so I'm delighted. So she's doing great. She's doing great, and it's great because she gained all the knowledge then that I passed on to her as well, and she's using it with her kids. Oh. So she'll feed them organic food, and she's, very careful.
That's amazing.
With them, and it's brilliant, and they're thriving. Well, the little one's only a few days old, and she's thriving anyway. But Sienna, the older one, she's a year and 2 months. Oh, she's just amazing. Like, So so thank God, like she's doing really well.
The more we go back to nature, which is God. the more we actually
It's all
hear.
God,
He
God
tells us
inspired,
in the
yeah.
Bible anyway, you know, the herbs, everything that we need to cure us is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Barbara O'Neill, I know you were talking about her. It's because I was looking into her a bit over the past few years, and I know she also has great faith, and I think I don't think it's
The Christian.
yet Christian,
Beautiful faith, yeah.
but she takes all of her remedies based on that as well, which is I think why I really got into her and was listening.
Yes.
And I got her book and I started doing the liver cleanse. I was doing all that for a while, and then sometimes life, when you're busy, you fall out of it, and the
I've
consequences
fallen
of
in and
it.
out of it myself.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know, it is a discipline as well.
Yeah.
So, but in the Bible it says God made herbs for the service of men. Like, you know, there's a plant called comfrey, which is otherwise known as knit bone. So if you have a broken bone and you put it on that broken bone, it'll knit the bones back together. You know, but there'll always be people that will say, like I had somebody say to me once, "Oh, that causes liver damage." Yeah, it does if you drink 2 pints of it every day for 10 years. Like, of course, it's, you know, or
So does the pint you have?
you know what I mean?
Pints, actual pints.
So you're
Actual
10
pint
pints.
Which is glorified
Exactly.
in this country.
Exactly. It beggars belief. Like, and also when I did the anti-inflammatory protocol, and when I was doing that, I remember seeing videos as well when I was doing my research, debunking health protocols and this protocol, and the carnivore, for example, you'd have people debunking it. And I remember afterwards thinking, gosh, if I had to listen to them, because some people do believe them. I'd have
People
never.
tell me I'm going to die over eating
here.
meat. I'm going to, like the whole of human history, just eating the majority meat all the time. Yeah. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Even though I've no inflammation in my body and have cured many things already. Like my severe complex sleep apnea, gone. I had acid reflux too, gone.
Yeah.
High blood pressure, gone.
Yeah.
See where I find it different. I know he said the meat was good. Sometimes I feel like the meat is making my body more acidic.
But you know,
you do need to have more acid in your stomach.
But that's the thing. But you know what? You know the problem is, you know, I've said this to you, is you've never went full carnivore, and you have to go full when you're dabbing with carnivore. It's an all in or all out diet. It's you have to go fully fat adapted with it, and then your gut heals itself. That's what it is. But you've never went fully there because the adjustment period for you, and also you need to gain weight, not lose weight, but you can gain it on carnivore, but you'd have to eat a lot. She'd have to eat 5 times a day to gain it, you know what I mean?
I struggle with it.
But she does a lot of fasting, you know?
You do the fasting as well, but the fasting is really good actually, but
not as much for women,
everything in
though.
a balance, you see, I think, you know. And I also say that, you know, there are some amazing surgeons out there as well, and that they do a great job. We couldn't be without them. There are some good doctors who blend the mainstream and the herbal together, and you marry the two, and it's great. Like it works great. So as I say, with the everything with a balance. But I'll be doing a little bit of work with you to see what I can do to help you or guide you. Do you know what I mean? Like with what will help you.
You gave me a little gift here.
And me.
MIR Organics Heal Wort Cream. Did you make this?
I did.
And
I made them myself. That's a face oil, an evening face oil. Yeah,
so I'm taking the beef tallow at the moment, and apparently that's no good. You're telling me.
Well, I won't get into it, but beef tallow is great. Some people find it great, but it just didn't agree with me, I suppose, is what I'll say about it.
Did you make this yourself?
But I made that one myself. And
MIR Organic.
Yeah.
Is it MIR or MIR?
MIR. So in Medjugorje, when Our Lady first appeared, she wrote in the clouds the word mir, which is Croatian for peace. So I wanted to honour her because what happened was then this business, now it's only going less than a year, or about a year now. The business I have is called MIR Organics. So because again, I said to God, so what will I do with all this information and, knowledge? And I was at a gardening class, and this lady said to me, I start talking about herbals, just naturally, just different things. Oh, that's such and such, and that flower is able to do this, and that berry is good for that. She said, well, if you do a class, we'll come to it.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I started doing classes then, and people enjoyed them, and I would do them maybe once a month or whatever. And then some of my family had used my creams and friends and found them great. And Hannah used to find them great for reducing inflammation in her legs so that she could sleep at night, which is why I started making them originally, was to help her sleep at night. So then people said to me, oh, you need to do this as a business. Like, you need to start this. So I said, yeah, okay. So, but again, like I'm kind of at the stage there where I'll say, well, look, God, is this your will for me? Is this a good idea? Because if you don't think it is. And a funny story actually happened to me a while ago. I was doing the classes and that, and I was having terrible doubts all of a sudden. And I was saying that week to God, I said, look, maybe I'll just do the creams and just leave the classes out. And, you know, do you really want me to do the classes? And because I was thinking, I don't think I'm really good at this. Or I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree.
Fear and doubt is not God anyway.
No.
That's not God.
Absolutely. And this will happen to all of us, you know, from time to time.
Constantly happens.
But God is good, because what happened was I was invited to a prayer meeting in a friend's house in Malahide, and Aidan Bond, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a great guy. He has a gift with the souls in purgatory. And he has great other charisms of the church and great gifts, and he prays with people. So she invited me, and this was the week now I was directly asking God this question. So I went to meet this chap, and I said nothing to him. He just put his hands on me and he said, your gift is teaching, and Jesus wants you to keep teaching. So I knew then.
We always get an answer, and it's always through someone else.
I mean, it was a direct answer to a direct
That's what
question.
God does. He works through people.
Yeah.
It's amazing when that happens, because you feel blessed, don't you?
I cried. Yeah. I said, because I had so many doubts about myself at the time. My confidence, it really helped my confidence as well. Do you know what I mean? Because there will be people that will try and pull you down as well.
It comes, it's the territory, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because it is a battle we're in, so you're going to get the good with the bad. But just stay focused on...
Whenever you're pursuing something good as well, you're going to get enemies. Like, it's just going to happen. Like, you know.
Yeah, a lot will. Yeah, and you know, when you get a lot of opposition, you're doing the right thing as well.
We did the same with this podcast. We were going, is this the right thing? And we were both discerning on it, both praying on it. Is this the right thing for us? Is it the right move? But every single sign, and I mean, this was constant, to the point where if we had ignored it, I'd be very worried about my future fate if we didn't do it. But it's you have to discern like that, you know. You have to give. Yeah,
it's good to discern. It's good to have a good priest that you can discern with. I had a father called Price, who's quite sick in hospital now at the moment. He's 90, but I've known him many years. Like, and he was a great help as well on my journey. And I would go to him, and he would discern as well, because I would find it sometimes hard to discern myself. So I would get him to discern with me or for me, and it always come back, whatever. So, and I feel as well that in my life now, I don't care what people think about me, because it's not about me, and it's about what God wants in the world. And like things like forgiveness and that kind of thing, like that people struggle with forgiveness. I did myself for a while, but what they don't realise is that forgiveness is it's not about condoning the person for what they did, the wrong they did to you. Forgiveness is about you letting go, being freed from that bind of what that person... And it's also not something we can do on our own. You know, it's something that is a gift from God. And if we ask him, for the grace to forgive that person who hurt us or whatever, he won't say no. He'll never say no.
I think when you have a love of God and you are going through all the motions of the teachings of the church and you have these morals, it's something that comes because, again, when we are praying the Our Father, we're asking him to forgive us. And when we come to our death, which we're all coming to for eternal life, like, we want him to forgive us. So it's something in this world that we must do in order for us to be forgiven also, because nobody's perfect. I know it's tough because in our humanness, we're weak and we're not as, we're not as good as God. John, what is it you always say? You're like, I'm flawed. What?
I'm extremely flawed, but a decent man. As my brother saying, Joe, when I used to beat myself up or whatever, for whatever reason, and he'd say, will you stop? We're deeply flawed men, but we're decent men. Yeah. And it was just good. It was a good way of looking at that, to give yourself a break too, you know.
True. And that none of us can sit in judgment of anybody, no matter what race, religion or creed or whatever. Do you know, that I just say I'm a work in progress. Do you know what I mean? Because
we all are.
and people think, and I've had it said to me, you know, because you have faith, your life is perfect. It's far from perfect, you know, and I've had a lot of mountains to climb, and I've had a lot of people to forgive, and I'm sure there's people that have had to forgive me as well, because I'm not perfect. And it's great knowing that you don't have to be perfect in order for God to love you.
I love that message. You don't have to be. That's what people think. Do you associate that?
Be a really good little Catholic.
Yeah, you have to be pure, and it's the opposite. And that Jesus is looking for the flawed people.
Yeah,
the people on the road.
It's in the trying.
Yeah, I even recently, and I think you could speak to this, Una, because because looking at your life and all you've experienced, you know, and the traumas along the way, and you know, having faith and how it's been the centre of it. Even recently, I just had a shaky week and whatever, and a few things happened. I won't get into it, but I just went, right, okay. I had the guidance. Get down on your knees, do the rosary. Yeah, just did that the other evening. And I knew no doubt when I got up off my knees, I was going to feel way better. I knew it. There was some comfort in that.
Yes.
Because I went, and my mind was saying, do the rosary. And no, but the other fellow was saying, do that, which was going to lead me somewhere bad. And then that voice won, got down, did the rosary, got back up, felt great, fell asleep, woke up way better the next day. I mean, you still go through the storm, but you have a light that you can see. And
you have something to grab onto. You know, you grab onto it. For me, taking the rosary beads in my hand is like taking Our Lady's hand. And it is a weapon. And it's one of the 5 weapons she gave us in Medjugorje, you know, against what's happening and what's going on in the world and what's coming to the world. A lot of us know what's coming. And she said, here are the weapons. Here are the tools you need to protect yourselves and your family from what's coming. People don't believe it. No. And she also said, if you don't pray, like prayer, the power of prayer, and I wish people would understand how powerful prayer can be. And we've all witnessed it ourselves here, for sure. But, you know, people don't realise that unless we come back to God, this world is heading for disaster. Yeah. And she also said that with prayer you can change, like, you know, the 10 secrets in Medjugorje and Fatima. You know, in Kibeho, she had said there will be rivers of blood in the streets if you don't start praying, if you don't come back to my son, if you don't pray to God.
The messages are quite
it was war then.
Scary, but they're truth. And she did say that if everybody pray for conversions, that's one of the big things I pray for, because she says pray for conversions in the world. I mean, if we pray for conversions in the world and everybody turns back to God, it can change prophecy.
Absolutely,
you know it can.
She said that.
She said it. It was her words, not
ours.
What
happened in Hiroshima? The priests in the house who were praying the rosary when the bomb dropped in Hiroshima. They were the only ones not affected, not killed, and no radiation in their body for years after.
Exactly.
And they all attributed it to the rosary.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say, look, to anybody who's just starting off or interested and curious, like my little prescription would have been Our Father, Hail Mary, and Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. They were just my personal ones, simple little one at night time, you know. But the rosary is the most powerful prayer to me. Like, it's really transformed my life completely.
Yeah, me
and I would
too.
say, I know it's a bigger undertaking to start off with, but I mean, if you have hours, the doom scroll though, if you have hours to do these things that are very bad for you nutritionally, for your soul, if they're poison, you'd want to be combating it with something positive and spiritual like the rosary, and you will, doesn't matter, I don't care what has happened to you in that day or that week, I don't care. If you do the rosary, you're going to feel an awful lot better straight away. Yeah. It really feels like magic. Yeah, you know?
Absolutely. I've experienced that as well many times, you know. And I did struggle with the rosary for a while, you know, because I was like,
here we'll go.
But I fell in love with it then. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And again, it was true. I think God and Our Lady taking us by the hand. And I think with Our Lady, she brings us to Jesus. She brings us closer, because she certainly, I suppose, for me especially, because of my father-daughter relationship wasn't great. So she, so men like Jesus was like, would be kind of inclined to go to her first. And I feel that she very gently brought me closer to him, to Jesus then. And now I just love him. And I've had tremendous comfort in praying with him or to him. I mean, you know, and it just made a huge difference. But again, just going back to when people say, oh, you're worshipping Our Lady. No, if you go into, look, if you invite me to your home. And you're there with your mother, right? And she's sitting over in the corner. And I come in and I just start talking to you and I ignore her and leave her there.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Like, how would you feel? So I just asked me, how would you feel?
Well,
that's how Jesus will feel if you ignore his mother.
If anybody wanted a favour off me,
Yeah.
like when my poor mother was alive, if they went to my mother and asked my mother, can you ask Sean to do a favour? I would have ran.
There you go.
I would have ran. I would have hopped and ran for my mother. That she'd feel good from getting the favour for this fella from me. Yeah. That's what I would have done. You know, so I mean, that's the simple logic, I think.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely. And
one of the first miracles we keep always saying was the first
wedding Cana.
Yeah.
There you go. It's there in the Bible if you're looking for a scriptural justification, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And she said, do whatever you
veneration, that's what it is, you know.
We venerate her and, well, she's our mother, like.
Yeah.
So that's
she's
how
the queen mother. She's the queen mother.
It's great. And I know, again, for some people, friends of mine who didn't have a great mother-daughter relationship, they would struggle with that, you know. But I just say, just give her a chance. Give her a try. Yeah. Like, she's not like an earthly mother. She's God, you know, she's in God, you know.
Yeah, and I'd also ask them to explain all the miracles.
Yeah,
all the miracles from Our Lady.
Explain her appearing. Even in Garabandal, there's footage of the young girls with their heads tilted back and receiving Eucharist, and there's no one there. Scientists couldn't explain it. No one can explain it. All of this is here. If people just stop being like, "Oh, I don't care, I'm not believing," because they just don't want. If you actually go and look,
also in Alexandria, where 100,000 people saw her.
Yeah.
100,000 people saw her in Alexandria. There's a photo of it.
Yeah.
In black
that's
and white
right.
photo. That's
and cartoon.
In Knock, where she appeared.
There's another place she appeared on the roof of the cathedrals or something. And it was a very Muslim orientated country. What was Zaytun, was it?
Something like that. You sent me a video of that.
No, in Egypt. Yeah, I thought it was Alexandria in Egypt.
Oh, maybe it is.
I
thought it was Alexandria just because my great-great-grandfather was buried in Alexandria. That's what I maybe associated with that.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
In Egypt with the Coptic Christians there.
Yeah.
That's what it was. With Coptic church that she appeared at. I think it was literally 100,000 people or 60,000 people. But they caught it on camera, like a still image of her.
Exactly, exactly.
You know,
and also... in many other apparition sites, there's many prophecies. Maria Juliana Jeheni. You heard of her?
No.
You should, have a look at her. Look her up. She's got tremendous prophecies for these times, especially. There's some podcasts on YouTube where they cover all about her prophecies.
Actually, maybe I have. My Uncle Manuel, I think, used to follow her and he would have told me about her. Yeah. Is there a priest who she'd be closely linked to, Father?
Gobi.
I think so, yes.
No, he brought a lot of information, I think, about her prophecies to light.
What would be some of the podcasts you've listened to?
Oh, Xavier.
Yes, that's it. Yes, I know who you're on about now. Yeah,
and Monique, I absolutely think she's so lovely. She's brilliant. Crux Media is their podcast.
I know it is.
And, you know, I mean, there's other, again, like there's a lot of podcasts and videos, and some of them aren't good either. Do you know what I mean? Or they're deceptive and things like that. So again, it's with discernment.
I think sometimes as well, what can happen is people can go down that route and it can overtake their lives and it becomes doom and gloom rather than hope. I do know some people who have gone down that route and started to panic about everything, and everything became so doom and gloom, and they lost kind of faith and hope, and they were full of fear. So I think it's a funny road to go down sometimes, and unless you're really deep in prayer and fully want to understand it, don't do it. Because I've seen many people honestly lose their heads and going really too far into it all and making up their own kind of thing about what they think, and no one knows what's ahead, because our Lord says that himself.
Exactly. And also he said, when you see these signs, don't let your hearts be troubled.
He says it.
Trust in me.
Yeah.
Just hold on to me. And for me, it's one day at a time. Because if we were to listen to everything that's been prophesied, you would have a breakdown.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why I'm like so trying to get your family and all on board, and then they're looking at you like you're mad, and it's like, but I care about your soul, you know.
Yeah, you see, I was very much like that years ago with my family as well, but now I just
leave it in God's hands.
I just pray for them all. I just pray for them all, and they all do have faith. Like 3 of my sisters came back to the faith in the space of a year, and I believe it's because of my sister Helen's prayers. And she used to say, "Oh, my knees are black and blue from praying for you."
Well, my motto of late now, and this has just become a pure belief of mine now, and it's helped me so much, is why would I worry about it? I'm giving that up to the Lord.
Yeah.
Why would I worry about it?
Yeah.
And literally just get down on it. If it's like, for instance, I got a thing the other day, like this sort of PTSD image of my mother when she was dying, and bad image, and
Flashback,
and it just got me tears straight away. Got down on my 2 knees. I said, "Right, Lord, just had to get in this image of my mother. Very bad memory. I'm getting anxious. I can feel it in my chest. Please take that with you, will you?" That's it. Got up on my knees. It was grand.
That's it. Yeah.
Honestly,
I do that as well with different things like that.
Stop worrying about it then. Give it to him.
Yeah, caught up in something, I just give it to him, and it just leaves you then. Like it's amazing. It's incredible. Like the power of and that in itself is a prayer as well.
But that faith as well, just giving it without worrying as well. Then it's continuing to worrying is not good after that, because then where's your belief then? You know, he handles it.
Yeah. My uncle always used to say to me, just sitting having a conversation, like as we are now, is also prayer.
Yeah.
Because it even is two or more gathered in my name, there I am amongst them. So he always said that. So I always feel better coming out of here. Like I didn't feel so great this morning and I already feel better.
Yeah.
You know, it's
there's
just
healing in it.
There is.
Well, healing
you know,
in the
something very encouraging. We were following the coverage a bit of the Youth Jubilee. 1 million young Catholics there in Rome gathered.
Oh, yeah.
And I found that to be very encouraging, and there was a huge Irish contingent as well. So there seems to be something stirring.
Oh, there is. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
There's
100%.
we're in a time of tremendous grace. But the thing is to grab onto it now while it's here. It's not going to be here. We don't know for how much longer. Like so, and Our Lady said in Medjugorje as well, she's going to leave a sign on the small mountain. And sorry, just before I say that, actually, the visionaries all have children, right? And I know some of the people would say to them, you know what's coming, you know the secrets. So how come you're having children? Like, you're not worried. And Visca said to them, when you have God, you have no fear. So I have no fear. And, you know, obviously they're having children because that's what God calls us to do as well. So
create.
So, what was I going to say before that?
The Youth Jubilee.
Oh, yeah. So
and the faith, the new faith.
The Youth Festival in Medjugorje is another great one.
My uncle has sent me a video of that to watch. I actually haven't watched it yet. It's like an hour, whatever long, and I was going to work that day. I'll watch it probably. I was going to say on my way home, but John's driving home tonight, so I'll watch it.
I've been to it many times. I've been going there, I'd say nearly 30 years. And I do always say, Our Lady keeps bringing me back because she knows I need it. I need a good...
I haven't been yet, and neither has John. We're actually both down to go.
Oh,
so it has to happen.
Yeah, we loved Fatima now, and like things really happened in Fatima, like, you know.
I know, I saw some of your videos. It was brilliant. And I did the Fatima thing as well, and the one on the knees.
Yeah.
Really?
That was not
I still have the war wounds.
Now, in fairness, Una, like, I'm not going to lie, like a third of the way through, I'm like... I have bad knees and I'm heavy and I'm not like this, like how skinny.
He was like, "You're really weak." I was like,
she
"It's still
said, why
sore."
don't you put your socks over your knees, yeah? So I said, you know what, that's a good idea. Yeah. But when I did, I got a better idea because I saw me runners then. I said, I'm going to put me runners over my knees. And I'm telling you, Una, even still with that, I was very bad. And cuts everywhere, like, it was tough. That was tough.
I found that very tough as well. I put a cardigan under it at one point as well, doing that one. But I used to do the mountains in Medjugorje in my bare feet. Now I'm lucky to get up there in my shoes because I'm a bit older now, but you know, always a great experience, and always would come back home with this beautiful sense of peace. But after a while, you get distracted, you get pulled back into the way of the world, because the way of the world is completely different, you know, and we're told by society, and this is getting back to forgiveness, that if somebody does something wrong and you kind of don't talk to them again, and you don't you like them anymore, and you just get rid of them out of your life. But that's not the way God is. God will say, no, reconcile if you can. If the person won't reconcile with you, then shake the dust, right enough, and walk away. But do give it I've always given it my best shot with people, say, for example. But the world will tell us to do different. So it's really difficult for the young people, especially with social media and everything that's out there now, that they're being pulled away from God's truths.
Completely.
And God's way.
Out of schools, out of everything.
Yeah, the schools as well. Being pulled into the way of the world. And the way of the world is the way
confusion,
The devil
loss,
would have it, say, for
everything.
example, yeah. And confusion being one of the big things.
One of the biggest.
You know, so...
You know what's funny, Uned? You know, there's guilt and shame are massively associated to Catholicism as a critique, you know?
Yeah.
And it's funny, even when I drifted away from the church and I drifted away from faith, I always believed in a higher power. I still, the number one thing I associated to Catholicism was forgiveness. Because growing up in my family, and I grew up in a big family, like 52 first cousins, and we all living in the same camp, 20 aunts and uncles and grandparents and all. So there's a lot of people around each other, and there can be a lot of drama and there can be conflict.
Absolutely.
But I've seen constant acts of forgiveness now, and forgiving very deep things.
Yes.
That a lot of people would not forgive.
Yeah.
And it was always like, you may forgive, there's not an hour's look, our Lord is watching. You know, and when I mean forgive, it was genuine forgiveness.
Yeah.
Like some really bad things.
Not holding a grudge.
And actually then they're just like that, back together. And like, so actually that's what I associate. And I would love for the youth to understand that it isn't, and it's not that it didn't go on. There were some elements that some priests at a certain era that maybe beat the drum a bit hard on the guilt and shame, and that did happen. We can't deny that. But the idea of forgiveness as an act, that act of reconciliation, our Lord forgiving you through the priest, you know, because that's where we get it.
Like, you know, in the early days of Medjugorje, they asked, could they touch Our Lady, the people, the crowd? And Our Lady allowed them. And so they couldn't, some of them could see her, but some of them couldn't. And so they would guide their hand to where to touch her. The visionaries would. And after a while, Our Lady's white dress started going black. And the visionaries got really upset. And why is this happening? And she said, it's because the people haven't been to confession in a long time. And that's how the confession boxes opened up. And then there was queues of people waiting for confession. And
the confession box was created in Ireland, wasn't it? The box itself. That was an Irish invention. The box.
Oh, was it? Oh, actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I watched that. Alex Fegan, my friend, did a documentary about it. So the boxes himself, he looked into it. It's actually a very good documentary at the Irish Sin or the Sin box or something. I should know. Anyway, a really good documentary actually, and the kind of it's just all priests. It's an observational documentary of just priests. All talking about confession and the act of reconciliation and its evolution, and in Ireland, and the good and the bad and the ugly, but generally a positive message, you know, about it. And it was really a powerful documentary. And also
the amount of people who've been healed in confession,
100%.
Marriages that have been healed, physical healings, just through the power of the sacrament of confession.
Well,
like,
people are
amazing.
People are so guilt-ridden. And they beat themselves up.
Well, the Irish are terrible.
Yeah, you don't need an enemy. Like you're your own worst enemy.
Exactly, that's so true. So true.
And the Irish are experts at it. Yeah.
Oh God, the worst in the world for it, I think. But so like, and you know what, like there has been a lot of damage in the church, and we all know that as well. And there have been many broken hearts. I'm not going to say caused by the church itself, but caused by individuals within the organisation. And Our Lady has said that the church is in big trouble even now. And who is the church? We are the church. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of damaged, broken people in the church. So, and it will be brought, or the very foundations will be shaken, she has said. But she will rebuild it and make it a new church. And another thing Sister Manuel said, she said, we're in a storm. We're on a boat with Jesus, and we're in a storm, a really bad storm at the moment. Are you going to stay in the boat and let Jesus guide you to safety, or are you going to jump out of the boat and drown? You know,
stay in the boat.
Yeah, so you stay in the boat, and we're going through really rough seas at the moment, as I said, in the church. So, and it probably will get worse. So, but eventually it will all come back. The tables will turn, and it'll be renewed.
Because he did say the gates of hell will never prevail, and it is the truth.
And I mean, do you know what? If there wasn't any good in or any use in the church, the devil wouldn't be doing the damage he's done.
It's
over the
because
years.
there is good.
You know,
That's the thing.
he would
But
have left it alone.
what people need to realise is that this is his playground, and there is such goodness in the church, and I see so many good priests, so many good people. And I was just going to say something earlier when you were talking about things. A big thing is community, having community around you. Otherwise we
Hugely
do fall back
important.
into the ways of the world. I've
Yeah.
struggled again. I had a bad week last week. I've struggled again this week, but I think it's because I was isolated for
Yes.
a lot of this week, and isolation leads you to your thoughts, your mind. Community is a big thing. So just making sure you stay connected to the people that you need to stay connected with, because it is a daily battle. We are living proof.
Yeah.
It happens to us all.
One day, as I say, one day at a time.
Yeah.
And community is so valuable in this as well. And
I feel like I need to go back to Derry for about a week to be with mine. You know,
yeah.
I'm going up on Friday. So.
Oh, great.
I think with the church, like I just call a spade. What my thoughts are, and it's just beliefs in it. That was Satan attacking the church.
Absolutely,
Because
When
I
we
think
walk
so
with
as
our
well.
Lord, that's what happens. And it is our Lord's church. That's the church he left behind.
Yeah.
It's now very clear to me that's exactly what happened. That's not to exonerate the people who committed those crimes. By the way, they committed crimes against humanity and crimes against God. I made a film about this, The Black Wealth. So I'm a good person to speak about it, because we all have it in our family history. But that doesn't mean we give up the church that our Lord left behind.
Yeah.
That's why
That
it's
seems like insanity to
so
me.
important to pray for priests, to pray for the church, pray for us all, because as we say, take the plank out of your own eye, because any one of us can fall at any point, any one of us can do anything at any point. So pray for us all, for them all. We all need it.
And the poor priest, God help him, who got attacked recently.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of it's not going to get any better for a while. It has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
I think, and it is under attack at the moment. So, but we do have to trust that God will steer us safely in the boat with it. But unless you stay in that boat, if you jump out, what can you do? We've been challenged quite a few times, especially in recent years as well. And only for my faith, I wouldn't have kind of been able to get through those rough seas in my life and be here to tell the story, if you like, because, it can be very challenging.
With that
times.
as well, like in Maine, just that so somebody could take something away, if they're in a challenging place, if they're trying to find faith, if they're just struggling with life, what would kind of be your advice to them, both on the faith kind of and just in life?
Well, the way I can only say how it helped me, I suppose, in that from the moment, like even after I saw Our Lady, which was great and everything else, but it was the moment I gave my heart to God or gave my life to God. And I said, do with me what you will, and I'm giving you my life. So just show me the road or show me the way or whatever. That's all. That's a great start. Do you know what I mean? Find a good, faithful friend, a good friend with faith, and talk to them and ask them for help. Get to Medjugorje, get to Fatima, whatever. Or Knock is. I mean, Knock is only down the road, so we have it on our doorstep. And I love the small chapel where the statues of Our Lady and
Love it.
the peace and the presence in that little chapel alone is incredible. So, and I'll also say that I don't care how hard people try, you'll not do it on your own. You'll not do it. If you're struggling with stuff and you think you can fix it yourself or find somebody, another human being who can fix it for you, or money or whatever it might be, it's only a temporary fix.
That's it.
Whereas God coming into your heart is a permanent fix. Has been for me, So,
Amen.
yeah.
Una, thank you so much.
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much,
It's been a
Una.
beautiful conversation.
Thanks.
God bless you.
Thanks for having me. God
you.
bless you as well.